You arrive at Dubai International Airport. You are carrying a bag full of gold. I mean full. Gold bars, jewelry, chunks of raw, unrefined gold. Full. Everyone from your flight walks towards passport control, but you wheel your carry-on bag the other way, towards the transit terminal. You sit down at a cafe, and a short while later, another traveler appears. He puts his bag down, picks yours up, and walks the other way. You finish your coffee, pick up his bag, and board the next flight back to where you just came from. You don't open the bag, but you know that inside is $2.5 million in cash. I know, it sounds like a bank heist, right? But this is how more than 400 tons of smuggled gold enters the UAE every year from Africa.
If you look at what is coming out of Africa through other nations, through exploitation of our natural resources, there is no comparison to the aid.
So guys, my good people, let us stop playing games. When you see a young man in Niger, Mali or Burkina Faso, probably a brother, your cousin, your son, standing in the dust, wearing the uniform, taking a stand, the corporate media machine rushes in with the same tired script: instability, chaos, bad omen. Let us watch these videos about what people are saying about who controls Africa's gold and uranium. Then I will come back and do more analysis.
Out of 3.5 billion euros in uranium exports, Niger received just 459 million. That's only 13% of the value. But now the game is over, my friend. France's uranium company is collapsing. Let me break it down. For years, Niger powered France's nuclear industry but barely saw the money. Most of the profits gone through unfair contracts, silent deals, old systems that served everyone except Niger. But in 2023, things changed. A military-led government took over and they started reclaiming control. First, they revoked France's mining licenses. Then they shut down one of the world's biggest uranium projects. And now, France's state-backed company Uranium is on the brink of bankruptcy. And it's not just Niger. Burkina Faso is cutting off foreign gold deals. Mali is reviewing all mining contracts. These three countries formed something new, the AES Alliance, a united front to take back control of their own resources. Now here's the question, are global powers losing grip while Africa is finally finding its voice? Do you believe real opportunities will rise from within? Comment AES if you want to know more about the alliance on my next reel. The world told Africa it was poor, but when you control the source, you control the story.
Niger just lost a court case to France. The World Bank Tribunal ruled Niger cannot sell, transfer, or even move its own uranium because France's company Uranium dragged them to court. France controlled this mine for over 50 years. Since 1971, Uranium, once called Areva, pulled out Niger's uranium and made hundreds of millions of dollars every year. That uranium kept France's lights on, powered its factories, and gave France cheap energy. And Niger? Niger got crumbs. A few royalties, while its people stayed among the poorest on earth. In 2023, Niger finally said enough and kicked Uranium out. But what happened? The West stepped in again. Now France and the World Bank decide what Niger can do with its own resources. This ruling is not just about Niger, it's a warning to Africa and the diaspora. The World Bank, the IMF, the whole system is still a colonial machine. Even if Africa pushes France out, they will use every tool to hold on to our wealth.
Did you know Nigeria almost became Africa's second nuclear power in the 1980s? While the world watched other nations, Nigerian scientists were secretly enriching weapons-grade uranium. Hidden deep in the remote wilderness of Kaduna State, researchers at Ahmadu Bello University had built sophisticated centrifuge facilities. The equipment came from Pakistan's infamous AQ Khan network, smuggled piece by piece over several years. By 1987, they were just months away from producing their first nuclear device. Western intelligence agencies finally discovered the program and were shocked by how advanced it had become. The facilities were so well hidden that satellites had missed them completely. Immediate diplomatic pressure and crushing economic sanctions forced Nigeria to abandon everything. But here's the most startling part. The nuclear infrastructure was so sophisticated that dismantling it required international oversight teams. Even today, some of those facilities remain classified. Nigeria came closer to joining the nuclear club than anyone realized. One decision changed everything.
Here are the numbers for you, real numbers. Africa owns 70% of the world's cobalt reserves. Your cell phone, your computer, your electric car won't work without cobalt. This cobalt comes from Congo, but Congolese can't afford cell phones. Africa owns 90% of the world's platinum reserves. Catalytic converters, electronic devices, medical implants, they all need platinum. This platinum comes from South Africa, but South Africans are crushed by unemployment. Africa provides 30% of the world's gold production. Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Tanzania. Gold flows like rivers from our lands, but our people swim in poverty. Africa supplies 65% of the world's diamond production. Botswana, Angola, Congo, Sierra Leone, billions of dollars worth of diamonds are extracted, but our miners live on $1 a day. Africa owns 35% of the world's uranium reserves. Niger, Namibia, South Africa. Nuclear plants run on our uranium. Paris lights burn with our uranium. But our villages have no electricity. And you still ask, why is Africa poor?
We're saying the parasitic relationship that these Western countries have with African countries has got to come to an end. We are simply saying we do not need aid, we need trade. They must come to Africa, treat us with respect, treat us as equals. You take, for example, Niger is selling its uranium to France for 80 cents a kilo, when the rest of the Western countries are buying the same uranium at $200, 200 euros per kilo. It is amazing, over 99% of the value of their uranium is going to France and other Western nations. Value that should be coming to Niger. That is wrong. It is thievery of the highest order. We're simply saying, come to Africa and treat Africans fairly. Trade with the Africans fairly, just like you trade with other nations.
The London Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, and you can sell your goods at the true value of the international market. Maybe we don't need donations from anybody. From that platform, we can create our own bank. I mean, it's not true. Burkina Faso and Niger just pulled the plug on France on a small little commodity, uranium. So no, you want uranium, you no longer dig it and take it. That mine belongs to us. We'll put the uranium at the world market. You want it, go and buy it like everybody else. And there, France is running with their pens in their hands.
Breaking news, everyone, breaking news. Before I tell you this breaking news, put your hands together for Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Because right now, Burkina Faso is redefining the African economy. What? Ibrahim Traore has done what most African leaders and African nations are scared of doing for centuries. My goodness, let's talk about it. Burkina Faso has brought out a new policy. What is the policy? They said, time has gone when foreign companies will be extracting our resources and be having companies elsewhere. Time has gone when you will be a foreign company in Burkina Faso and then have headquarters in Europe and America. If you are to be a foreign company in Burkina Faso, you must have headquarters in Burkina Faso. You cannot be taking our resources and be paying tax elsewhere. That is what Burkina Faso said. Burkina Faso said, if you don't like this, pack your things and go. But to show you that Ibrahim Traore is a good man, he said, we are going to break taxes for you. We are even going to make the permits easy for you so you can build these headquarters in Burkina Faso. You cannot be polluting our place and be having headquarters in another place. This is what we call economic reform. This is not just leadership. This is what I call nationalism of economy in action. This is what leadership is all about. See, Ibrahim Traore is showing us that sovereignty is not just about slogan. Sovereignty is a system. We cannot be saying Africa will rise again, Africa will rise again, while foreign companies are still holding our economy hostage. It is simple. You want to be a foreign company in Burkina Faso, no problem, but you must have your headquarters in Burkina Faso. That reminds me of someone. Someone have done this before. Town crier. Someone did this and they call him a tyrant. Someone did this and people hated him. Who is this? Who is that?
I think the people whom I sent away of the British citizens they were controlling 99 economy of Uganda, all business, industries and everything. And on top of that, I requested them when I took over in 1971. The power was handed over to me by the members of the armed forces. I asked them to apply for Uganda citizenship. They refused. And they control 99% of the economy. And the whole money they are getting, they don't bank this money in Uganda. They bank this money outside Uganda.
You see, India Dada did that. But the media painted him bad. Well, we know better now. Ibrahim Traore is defining the African economy strategy. But there's something Ibrahim Traore said that broke my heart. Do you know what he said? I quote, he said, we will no longer tolerate foreign companies that will pollute our lands and leave our people in poverty. Just like they did to the people of Ogoni in Nigeria, Niger Delta. So these people are aware of what Shaw PLC is doing in Ogoni, in Niger Delta. This man is well read. This man is not just a president of Burkina Faso. He has nose and eyes in other countries. Ibrahim Traore. This is Africa reborn. A new generation of Africa. Bold, strategic and unapologetic. I can see a new Africa. Africa. Wisdom. Is the principal thing. Request for boosts I will give you. Follow me on the social media platform. Remember, I am still going from school to school, giving free boosts to African children. Support me in any way you can. And if you want to help us to get new gadgets, to be shooting new videos for you, reach out to me, support us. That would be appreciated. I love you and I care about you. Wisdom Africa. It's a principal thing.
When you look at Niger powers France, literally. More than half of the energy, the electricity that France uses is based on nuclear energy, comes from nuclear energy. Nuclear energy, uranium. Niger has one of the largest deposits of uranium, not just in Africa, but in the world. So for the longest time, Niger has been powering France, literally. Take Niger away, take the uranium away, and those hot baths that you're taking in Paris, they might just be cold. Anytime a foreign nation must come into your country to intervene, you're not sovereign at all. So when we have all these cases of foreign armies on African soil in the name of bases, military bases, including Kenya, including Djibouti, we're not sovereign at all.
And conservancies.
Yeah, exactly. You see, like that speaks to the fact that the internal sovereignty is not there because we're not in control of certain sections of the country. Africa needs to have its own currency lane. This business of 54 different currencies all over Africa, they make it easy for IMF, for World Bank, for USA, for Britain, and for these countries to just manipulate Africa. Africa must have its currency, man. If Africa has its own currency that is backed by Africa's vast mineral resources, I kid you not, it will be the most powerful currency in the world. Do you know, Lynn, that Francophone Africa has had more than 100 attempted coups over the last 5 decades, 6 decades. A few of those coups d'etats were popular revolutions. The people were behind it. But for the most of these coups d'etats, whether attempted or successful, it's actually France that was behind it. And the reason France was behind it was when they no longer liked a president, they would take him out. Samori Touré turned vast villages into gun and weapons manufacturing centers.
Wow.
Right here in Africa. Right here. Now, there's a second key right there. In 3 words, that key is made in Africa. Unless we make what we consume, unless we produce what we consume, they will always defeat us.
Yes.
We will always be beholden to them.
Yes.
Samori Touré proved for 18 long years the French were unable to defeat him. Completely. Many of the corrupt ruling elite in Africa, the corrupt ruling elite globally, they would want the African to continue sleeping because an awakened African is the one who will take this world to the next level.
With Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? Have it. When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. If you're comparing...
Sudan sits on one of Africa's richest gold belts, yet its people remain some of the poorest in the world. How can a land full of gold still bleed poverty? Every year, Sudan produces over 90 tons of gold, more than most countries in Africa, but only a fraction ever reaches the government. The rest, smuggled away through black markets, foreign dealers, and secret airstrips. Billions of dollars worth of gold vanish each year, while schools, hospitals, and roads crumble. It's a cycle where wealth leaves the land, but poverty stays behind. Foreign powers compete for Sudan's minerals, from Russia to China, while internal conflict and corruption keep the people trapped. Sudan isn't short of resources, it's short of justice. Sudan's story isn't just about gold. It's about the African paradox, where the richest lands host the poorest people. So the real question is, who's truly mining Sudan's future?
How long have we been getting aid, and what do we have to show for it? It has been an instrument of making sure that they keep Africa where they want Africa to be. Let it all go. We need trade, not aid. Trade with Africans fairly, they do not need the aid. If you look at what is coming out of Africa, through other nations, through exploitation of our natural resources, there is no comparison to the aid. Let's trade with Africa fairly. That's why I'm saying the era that President Trump is ushering in is an era that we must embrace as Africans, but let's be wise. Let's not sell. Let's not mortgage our children's future. We do not need aid. They all must go. When you look at the damage that they are creating in Africa, people need to understand. When you would see a clinic that was run by USAID, most of those activities were in areas that are mineral rich. That clinic is being used as a way of monitoring the uranium, to making sure that the minute somebody starts digging, where is that uranium going? They're keeping an eye on the natural resources. So let's make no mistake about it. If it was about looking for poor people, there are plenty of poor people. Tell it to Mayor Bass in Los Angeles. Tell it to the governor of the state of California. Tell it to the mayor of New York City. The homeless people in Los Angeles, the homeless people in New York City. Tell it to the governors of the states, the southern states. There are people who still don't have electricity and running water. Where are the signs for USAID? Don't stop putting wool over our eyes. It's not about gallivanting around the world, going around 10,000 miles away from the United States looking for poor people, when there are millions of poor people right here in the United States. Charity begins at home. Let's be serious, people. Do not be fooled. USAID was not going to Africa looking for poor people. Far from it. They have a different agenda. There are poor people here, right here in America. And until we start seeing USAID flags in the streets of Los Angeles taking care of all the homeless people, until we start seeing USAID flags in the reservations, American Indian reservations, where they don't have electricity and running water. Come on now, talk to me. That's a facade. We're tired of it. They all need to go. Africa needs trade and not aid.
I think deep down there are other issues.
You come to Africa, you dig up the whole place and leave mining dumps, poisoning rivers with cyanide, only to bring the gold and put it in a warehouse somewhere here you call a vault. You come to Africa, you kill animals, only to collect the horns and leaving the meat to rot on the ground. Are you okay? And then when they see us putting on skins like this, they want to look like they're conservationists. No, you can't be putting on animal skins. But you're sitting on a leather chair with leather shoes, with a leather belt. Are you okay in your head? With a leather car. What kind of hypocrisy is that? You pollute the whole world with carbon. Then you come around and say, please, let's do some green energy. Shut your industries up if you're talking about green energy. You have lied to us for too long. And the honeymoon of lies is over.
Africa holds 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. 60%. And yet we import $43 billion in food every year. Why? Because colonial economics never left. We were taught to export cash crops, tea, coffee, cocoa, not feed ourselves. Gaddafi knew this was madness. He invested billions into desert agriculture, aquifers, local grain reserves. He said a nation that cannot feed itself is a nation waiting to be conquered. And he was right. Today, every fertile nation like Nigeria imports rice. Malawi relies on maize aid. Senegal buys onions from Holland. And the World Bank tells us this is market efficiency. Nope, it's economic suicide. To reclaim our dignity, we must reclaim our soil. That starts with land reform. Give land to those who work it, not foreign agro businesses, not local elites. Then invest. Agro processing, irrigation, grain storage, pharma cooperatives. Ban GMO monopolies, protect seeds, promote native crops. Food is political. It determines whether our children grow or go hungry, whether farmers thrive or migrate, whether we feed our own workers or foreign traders. Let's build continental food corridors, share science across borders, train a new generation of agroecologists, and tell the IMF we won't starve to pay debts. Because the real revolution begins in the fields, and the future of Africa won't be decided in a boardroom. It will be decided in the soil.
In 2024, over 435 tons of gold were smuggled out of Africa, more than 1 ton every day. Most of this gold, worth $35 billion, ended up in Dubai, a city in the UAE known for its gold trade. While Africa loses its wealth, other nations and big companies grow richer, leaving Africans poor. For years, Africa's natural resources have been taken unfairly, from colonial times to today. Gold is mined in unsafe ways, smuggled out, and sold in Dubai, where rules are weak. The money from this gold doesn't help Africa. Instead, the continent suffers from destroyed land, poverty, and loss of income. Western countries are also involved. Smuggled gold moves from Dubai to markets in Europe and North America, where companies make huge profits without caring about its origins. This system keeps Africa poor while making others richer. Countries like South Africa and Nigeria, with their size and influence, could protect their resources and people, but haven't.
But Dexter, why don't they follow the example of Burkina Faso, where past leaders like Thomas Sankara fought hard to stop foreign exploitation? Sankara pushed for self-reliance, local production, and resource control, inspiring hope across Africa.
I have no idea, but today Burkina Faso continues to stand firm against exploitation, with current leaders prioritizing the country's sovereignty and wealth protection. If South Africa, Nigeria, and other African giants adopted similar bold leadership, Africa's resources could benefit its people instead of enriching foreign powers.
But that's not funny, Dexter. Africans really need help from other part of the world.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do.
You arrive at Dubai International Airport. You are carrying a bag full of gold. I mean full. Gold bars, jewelry, chunks of raw, unrefined gold, full. Everyone from your flight walks towards passport control, but you wheel your carry-on bag the other way, towards the transit terminal. You sit down at a cafe, and a short while later, another traveler appears. He puts his bag down, picks yours up, and walks the other way. You finish your coffee, pick up his bag, and board the next flight Mohammed Hassan, and this is the big picture.
The Reserve Bank is not there for the good of the country and for the good of the government. They are there, that's the reason why they defend their independence so fiercely. They're actually the ones who look after the interest of the commercial banks, and they're the ones who are actually ripping off the citizens, and that's the reason why I'm fighting the case, because I'm so convinced that we only can solve the problems we have worldwide when we get the system right. The Reserve Bank is not helping the country and the citizens, it's helping the commercial banks to defend their own rights. And that's a thing which has to be made clear, because that is the devil.
It's our country. Are we sovereign or are we not sovereign? Do we have the right to determine the banking system that suits us? And if we do not take this decision, we will continue to be a colony of the international bankers.
So this idea of having a state bank doesn't exist today because this country and this government was long captured. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we talk about state capture continually in the present time. But the real state capture took place on the 30th of June 1921, when South Africa was captured by the banks through the courtesy of the South African Reserve Bank.
That suggests that the South African Reserve Bank doesn't represent the masses of the South African majority. So who does the South African Reserve Bank represent?
The central banks at the turn of the century, there were only 18. I'm talking about the turn of the 20th century. But then the numbers increased dramatically after a conference was held in Genoa in 1922, when it was decided that all countries which were independent should have their own central bank. And it was, in particular, it was mentioned that they should be independent of their governments. But what was not stated was who they would be dependent on. And what has transpired is that central banks work hand in glove with private banks, and that they are primarily there to further and represent their interests.
So you're saying that the South African Reserve Bank represents the private banks in this country?
Absolutely. The Reserve Bank does issue banking licenses,
right,
but beyond that, they are there to promote the interests of the private banks, and they do that by granting them the right to create the nation's money supply out of thin air, as it happens, by granting loans to the public. 6% of the money supply consists of banknotes and coin, and the rest is credit, which is created by the private banks at interest as a debt to the detriment of the general public.
Been hidden from the public domain. You just said you were told to ignore the CIX report. Why didn't this come out into the public domain?
Well, you know, it comes back to my original point, is that the Reserve Bank acts in the interests of the private banks, and that is why the matter was not pursued.
And which banks are you speaking about? Are you speaking about the top four banks in this country?
The big five banks in South Africa, yes, commercial banks.
Every time this thing goes back now for sorting, this thing gets shredded.
Musa Mbele used to be the managing director of the South African Banknote Company, a subsidiary of the Reserve Bank. With Michael Durr, he goes through a long list of serious problems, including faulty notes at the central bank.
Most of it will be 100 Rand notes.
As an investor, Durr is amassing evidence for a case he's building that will be taken to the World Bank.
If I can get hold of the Stephen, and when he can give me the details from the Crane guy in America, then I try to contact them.
First, Musa Mbele was suspended after uncovering alleged corruption. Then he was sacked. The Reserve Bank has since spent millions on lengthy legal procedures to defend their position.
I said to Michael, to quote what I said when I met him, is I feel like killing people because they have killed me. Especially that, you know, I'm facing the state using state coffers, and I have to face with my own money because I'm trying to defend my integrity.
So, my good people, I had said earlier, when you see a young man in Niger, Mali or Burkina Faso, probably a brother, a cousin, your son, standing in the dust, wearing the uniform, taking a stand, the corporate media machines rushes in with the same tired script. Written instability, chaos, bad omen. That's what they're trying to put outside here. But guys, you and I know the truth. That young man is not fighting over a political squabble. He's standing on soil where an ocean of wealth lies beneath his feet. That is now gold and uranium, which is the foundation of global power. And he is watching all of this live. He's actually watching his birthright be stolen in broad daylight. This is not about instability. It's about the theft of our sovereignty. Africa is not poor. Do not ever let anyone tell you that lie. Africa is impoverished, and there is a world of difference, of course. To be poor is a condition. To be impoverished is a deliberate, ongoing act committed by others. Imagine we have 30% of the world's mineral reserves, yet we have shanty towns next to massive gated foreign mine sites. How? Of course, it's the contracts, the legally binding contracts. Look at uranium. Look at Niger. For 50 years, our French friends have been powering their country, their hospitals, their lights, their nuclear defense with Nigerian uranium, which is extracted by a single massive corporation. What did Niger get in return? Dust, environmental ruin, and a pittance that keeps them just poor enough to remain dependent. When the military decided to say enough is enough, France did not ask about democracy. Imagine they asked about their energy supply. That tells you everything you need to know about where their true interest lies. The same betrayal happens with gold. It's not just uranium. Africa, we are the land of gold, yet we are left with the scars. Foreign mining giants swoop in, use every loophole, pay zero taxes, suck the gold out of the ground, and ship into probably Europe. The billions of dollars of African gold bypasses our local markets, leaving behind polluted rivers and hungry unemployed youth. That frustrations, that raw justified rage, that is what fuels the instability that they love to talk about. Ask yourself one question. How can we be sovereign when the ground we stand on is controlled by an agreement signed by a compromised leader like 40 to 50 years ago? The foreign military bases here, they are not primarily here for our safety. They are here as the security guards for the foreign mining corporations or operations. They are here to make sure that if any African leader or any woman or man tries to say, we are keeping our gold, then they can quickly be dealt with. This is the war for African dignity. It's a war for strategic control, and we need to get strategic if we are going to win it. Guys, this resource theft is more than just a mine shaft. It's a web of strategic control designed to keep us weak and compliant. It's the financial leverage. They bury us in debt, then tell us the only way out is to sign away more mineral rights. It's a plantation system with sweets and spreadsheets instead of chains and whips. It's the market manipulation. We dig up the gold, but they set the price in London. Funny, right? We provide the raw materials, but they control the finished product. We are kept at the bottom of the value chain, and that is where the chains of the economic slavery are bolted on. So, what is the action plan, guys? What is my take on this? Number one, we must stop competing and start uniting. We actually need a Pan-African resource block. Imagine if every gold or uranium producing nation like Mali, Niger, South Africa and Ghana said, you know what, guys, we will only sell our resources together and we will set the price. That's not just power, that is unbeatable. The African Union needs to grow a spine and implement an African resource strategy that supersedes all individual national interests. That was number one. Number two, add value or shut it down. We must demand local benefit. We are done selling raw dirt. If you extract uranium, you build the processing plant here. If you mine gold, you must refine it here. That's how we create millions of manufacturing jobs, not just a few low-wage security positions. That's how real wealth is born. And number three, let us talk about African currency. That's what most people talk about. We have to cut the cord from the foreign currencies and financial systems that shackle us. Let the West panic about their euros and dollars. Our resources are real wealth. We need a strong, unified, commodity-backed financial mechanism that actually allows us to trade with each other and the world on our own terms. This is the ultimate declaration of economic freedom. And again, we need to invest in the African mind. The final step and the most important one is internal actually. We must stop waiting for foreign experts. We need to fund and empower our own geologists, our own engineers, our own military strategists and bankers. The man who understands the local geology and the global market is the one who ultimately wins the war for sovereignty. Invest in the African mind, and the continent is ungovernable by outsiders. Simply like that. My brothers, my sisters, my cousins, the fight for Pan-Africanism today is not waged only with speeches, it's waged with contracts, currency, and strategic control over what lies beneath our feet. We must be smarter, we must be bolder, and we must be absolutely united. The gold is ours, the uranium is ours, it is time to take it back. That's my take. Subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next video.